Sakshi Khurana coming up in the next 30 minutes. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks with US President Joe Biden, reiterates the path of dialogue and diplomacy for solution to Ukraine conflict. Both stress ensuring safety for Hindus in Bangladesh. Russia pounds Ukraine with missiles, drones for second day in row. Ukraine mulls response as it faces electricity and water supply outages. US, UK, NATO term attack irresponsible and potentially dangerous. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg says Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor COVID-19 content, regrets demoting news story about Biden's son after a false alarm by FBI in lead-up to 2020 polls. Doubts overrise the debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and Donald Trump over the subject of muted mics. Trump also questions the neutrality of broadcaster ABC News. And in India, incessant heavy rains wreak havoc in Gujarat. All schools closed, hundreds relocated to safer areas as forecast of heavy rains in next few days adds to the misery. On to the details now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a telephone call from US President Joe Biden on Monday. Prime Minister conveyed his appreciation for President Biden's deep commitment to the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership, which is based on shared values of democracy, rule of law and strong people-to-people ties. The leaders reviewed the significant progress in bilateral relations and highlighted that India-US partnership is aimed at benefiting the people of both countries as well as the entire humanity. The two leaders had a detailed exchange of views on a number of regional and global issues. While discussing the situation in Ukraine, Prime Minister briefed President Biden on his recent visit to Ukraine. He reiterated India's consistent position in favor of dialogue and diplomacy and expressed full support for early return of peace and stability. The two leaders expressed their shared concern over the situation in Bangladesh. They emphasized restoration of law and order and ensuring safety and security of the minorities, particularly Hindus in Bangladesh. They agreed to remain in touch. And moving on, Russia launched several waves of missile and drone attacks targeting scores of Ukrainian regions and killing at least 4 people. Ukraine's military confirmed early on Tuesday, a day after Moscow's biggest air attack of the war on its neighbor. 2 people were killed when a hotel was wiped out in the central Ukraine city of Kryvyi Rih. 2 died in drone attacks on the city of Zaporizhia east of Kryvyi Rih. Kyiv region's air defense systems were deployed several times overnight to repel missiles and drones targeting the Ukrainian capital. And at least 6 people have been killed after Russia launched a massive attack across Ukraine. Russia hammered locations in the Ukraine's east and west, putting a huge strain on Ukraine's energy grid. The attack comes after Ukraine celebrated independence from the Soviet Union on Saturday and almost 3 weeks after Ukraine started its incursion of Russia's Kursk region. Dasha Chernyshova has more from Moscow on this.
Russia says it launched a massive group strike against critical power infrastructure of Ukrainian defense industry. The MOD said long-range precision air and sea-based weapons hit Ukraine's power grid, compressor stations, supporting operations of the Ukrainian gas transportation system in several regions of the country. Moreover, it says it hit depots of aircraft armaments supplied to Kyiv from the west at airfields in the Kyiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions. Meanwhile, Ukraine hit Russia with at least 20 drones overnight. A high-rise residential building in the city of Saratov was hit. Local authorities reported 4 injured. The Kremlin on Monday said that there would be a response from Russia to Ukraine's incursion into Russia's western Kursk region. Presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that, quote, such hostile actions cannot remain without an appropriate response. He said that the response would not be a separate decision. The Kremlin also said that the idea of ceasefire talks with Kyiv is no longer relevant. He dismissed media reports that there had been some kind of ceasefire talks between Moscow and Kyiv. In Russia's Belgorod region, the authorities announced the closure of another 3 border villages for the residents because of difficult operative situation. Dasha Chernysova in Moscow, reporting for DD India.
While NATO strongly condemned what it called Russia's ongoing attacks against Ukraine after Poland said a drone likely entered its airspace during a Russian attack on Ukraine early on Monday. NATO spokesperson Farhad Dakhlala said that Russian drone fragments and missiles have been found in Allied territory on several occasions and added that these acts are irresponsible and potentially dangerous. Also, U.S. President Joe Biden denounced an outrageous Russian assault on Ukraine's power grid on Monday, vowing Moscow would never succeed in its ongoing war and pledging continuing support to Kyiv. Biden's comments followed an earlier condemnation by White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, which denounced efforts to plunge the Ukrainian people into darkness as the fall sets upon us. Moreover, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy condemned on Monday the latest Russian attacks on Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and said he was deeply saddened by the death of a Reuters employee in strike in eastern Ukraine. And the Israeli military launched a series of preemptive strikes against Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon on Sunday. Later on Monday, IDF also launched a video of the attack. The near-term risk of a broader conflict in West Asia has eased somewhat after Israel and Hezbollah exchanged fire without further escalation, but Iran still poses a significant danger as it waged a strike on Israel. Well, Iran has leveled another threat as tensions mount in the Middle East, with its foreign ministry spokesperson saying Tehran's response to Israel will be definite, calculated and accurate in the wake of the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh earlier this month. It comes as key mediators are desperately trying to salvage a ceasefire deal to end the fighting in Gaza, seen as the only way to potentially avert a wider regional war. Sarah Coates has more from Tel Aviv on this.
Concerns over a wider escalation continue to mount right across the Middle East, with red alert sirens ringing out in these largely evacuated northern communities of Israel on Monday, with Israeli warplanes also conducting strikes in southern Lebanon, saying that they've been hitting Hezbollah weapons storage facilities and other infrastructure. Well, it comes as Iran continues to level threats at Israel over the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. He was the head of Hamas's Politburo, with that killing blamed on Israel. Now, Iran's foreign ministry has come out to say that the response will be definite and calculated, adding that Iran doesn't seek to increase tensions. However, it is not afraid of it. Now, this comes as low-level negotiations are continuing to try and get a ceasefire and hostage release deal over the line, but the one main sticking point does remain, and that is the control over the Philadelphia corridor. This is this very narrow strip of land that separates Egypt and Gaza, and one that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that he will not remove troops from, saying that he believes that this could potentially then see weapons smuggling from Egypt into Gaza, while Hamas has been saying that it will not agree to anything but a full Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. So as we go to air, it does appear as though talks are stalling, with really the only optimism being seen from the United States. Reporting from Tel Aviv, I'm Sarah Coates for DD India.
Well, moving on to Pakistan, where the death toll in multiple cases of terror attacks reported in the Balochistan province crossed 70. As per the latest reports, at least 73 people were killed when terrorists attacked police stations, railway lines and highways. Pakistan's military said 14 soldiers and police and 21 terrorists were killed in retaliatory operations. Rail traffic with Quetta was suspended on Monday following blast on a rail bridge in the town of Bolan, linking the provincial capital to the rest of Pakistan, as well as on a rail link to neighboring Iran. And in Bangladesh, a Dhaka court on Monday sent 388 Ansar personnel to jail in 4 cases for laying a siege and ransacking the secretariat and launching an attack on the students. Ansar is a paramilitary auxiliary force of Bangladesh who work on daily wage basis. According to the police, a total of 437 named and 11,100 unnamed people were made accused in 4 cases. Early on Sunday night, more than 40 people were injured when the clashes broke out between students and protesting Ansar personnel. Moreover, at least 6 army personnel were injured and one of them still in critical condition, according to Inter-Services Public Relations Office's press release issued on Monday. Number of personnel in Ansar Auxiliary Force is 6 million and they are asking for their job regularization. At around 10 p.m. on Sunday, Bangladesh Army personnel reached the spot and brought the situation under control. And Meta founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg has made a stinging revelation about U.S. President Joe Biden that might heavily impact the ongoing presidential campaign in the USA. The Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has made these revelations in a letter written to House Judiciary Committee of the United States. In his letter, the Meta founder said that in 2021, Biden administration officials pressured him to censor some COVID-19 content and even jokes and satires related to it. In another revelation, Zuckerberg urged the FBI officials, warning him to suppress contents related to corruption charges related to the then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family. Zuckerberg said that FBI had warned him that the information being part of Russian disinformation campaign, which turned out to be otherwise. Lastly, in his letter, Mark Zuckerberg said that this year he will not make any contribution for creating electoral infrastructure for facilitating elections in the USA. People feel that my contributions help any particular party. And Elon Musk's space exploration company, SpaceX, is set to embark on a groundbreaking mission on Tuesday that will make history with the first privately managed spacewalk. The mission, which will last 6 days, represents a significant leap forward in the privatization of space exploration. The Polaris Dawn mission will see a crew of 4 SpaceX astronauts, led by billionaire entrepreneur Jared Isaacman, venture into Earth's orbit aboard a modified Crew Dragon capsule. The Polaris Dawn mission will orbit Earth in an elliptical path, coming as close as 190 kilometers and reaching as far as 1,400 kilometers from the planet's surface. This trajectory will take the crew farther from Earth than any human has been since the Apollo moon missions ending in 1972. And a much-anticipated U.S. presidential debate next month between Vice President Kamala Harris and Republican nominee and former U.S. President Donald Trump was thrown into question over the subject of muted mics as the Republican threatened to pull out. Trump further raised doubts when he raised questions on the neutrality of the broadcaster ABC News. The Trump and Harris campaigns were locked in disagreement on Monday over whether each candidate's microphone would be muted when the other spoke, as was the case during Trump's debate in June with President Joe Biden. But Harris is pushing for a return to the norm of keeping microphones on. The Trump camp maintains that the debate should occur under the already agreed conditions. Well, Japan has termed the violation of its airspace by Chinese military aircraft as utterly unacceptable. The reaction comes a day after Japan scrambled jets and summoned a Chinese embassy official in Tokyo in protest. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi said that the airspace breach was not only a serious violation of Japan's sovereignty but also threatened the country's security. The government continues to monitor increasing Chinese military activity near Japan and will be fully prepared for any airspace violation.
This is the first time we have confirmed and publicly announced a breach of our airspace by a Chinese military aircraft since we began taking measures against acts violating our airspace. Such airspace breach by Chinese military aircraft is not only a serious violation of Japan's sovereignty, but it also threatens our security, which is utterly unacceptable.
And South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol on Tuesday ordered a thorough response to digital sexual crimes using deep fakes. Yoon pointed out that many of the victims and perpetrators were underage. Large-scale group chat rooms suspected of creating and distributing fake videos that edit explicit content with women's faces in South Korea have been found on social media platforms such as Telegram.
Recently, deepfake videos targeting a wide audience are rapidly spreading through social media. Many of the victims are underage, and it has been found that most of the perpetrators are also teenagers. Some may dismiss it as a mere prank, but it is clearly a criminal act that exploits technology under the shield of anonymity.
Also, France is not just in news for its political uncertainties, but also for the arrest of Telegram CEO Pavel Durov in a cyber criminality investigation. Paris prosecutor in a statement on Monday said the probe concerns crimes related to illicit transactions, child pornography, fraud and the refusal to communicate information to authorities. Meanwhile, French authorities have extended the detention of Telegram CEO. An investigating magistrate ordered that Durov can be held for questioning for up to 96 hours, after which he must be charged or released from custody. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Monday that the French government was not involved in the arrest of Telegram founder. Macron said the arrest of Telegram's president on French territory took place as part of an ongoing judicial investigation. This is in no way a political decision. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. India strongly rejects rumours that flooding in Bangladesh was caused by uncontrolled opening of sluice gates of the Farakka Bridge.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, India's Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will today hold bilateral meeting with the Brazil's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mauro Vieira, in New Delhi. The leaders will discuss on how the two nations, as part of the Troika, can take forward key G20 outcomes from India's G20 presidency last year. Dr. Jaishankar and his Brazilian counterpart will also co-chair the 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meeting in New Delhi. Brazil has assumed the presidency of the G20 until November 2024. The G20 Troika during the Brazilian G20 presidency in 2024 will comprise India, Brazil and South Africa. Brazil will host the G20 Leaders Summit in Rio de Janeiro on November 18th and 19th. Well, Union Home Minister Amit Shah announced that 5 new districts will be created in the Union Territory of Ladakh. The new districts are Zanskar, Dras, Sham, Nubra and Changthang. The step will help take the benefits meant for the people to their doorsteps by bolstering governance in every nook and corner of the UT. Take a look at this report.
The significant decision addresses a long-pending demand of the people of Ladakh. Establishment of new districts is expected to improve the delivery of public welfare schemes from both the central government and the Ladakh administration.
It's a historic decision that has taken by the government of India. This was much needed. It's a long cherished demand of the people of this 5 people living in these 5 newly announced districts area.
This will help in boosting tourism, ensuring all-round development and equal opportunities for the people of Ladakh living in the far-off areas.
And it's always important to take administrative setup more closer to the people. Take the departments more closer to the people so that, Ladakh is a far-flung area. The villages, the places, the subdivisions, the tehsils, the blocks are far and wide scattered across Ladakh. So it's very important for any government to see to it that the people do not have to travel long distances. People will have to, it's always easy for them to approach the administration at their doorstep.
It was a very good decision that has made, and this will lead to more effective and responsive government system. The district admins would be in a better position to address the priorities and needs of their specific communities, leading to more effective and timely actions.
Initially, we are very happy. We welcome this decision, and I believe that Turtuk will be created, upgraded as subdivision, which will eventually help the people of Turtuk, especially the border area, youth like me and the youth who has to come and the people will be greatly benefited.
From a strategic perspective, this decision is of immense importance as Ladakh shares borders with Pakistan and China.
This decision will be important since the people from the far off and remotest areas won't have come to Leh to avail the basic services. The establishment of the new district is going to take the developmental initiative and measures to their doorsteps. It was quite difficult for the people from the border areas to travel to Leh to avail basic services owing to hilly region and the limited availability of transportation here. It was a long pending demand of the people of Union Territory of Ladakh to have districts in the Zanskar and Nubra region. With these two districts, there have been an addition of 3 districts as well. Overall, this decision is going to be a significant one in terms of the holistic development and availing of opportunities equally by the people of Ladakh. With camera person R. Raja, Muzaffar Wani reporting from Leh, Ladakh.
And updates now on assembly polls in India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Today is the last date for the filing of nominations for the first phase. 24 assembly constituencies will go to polls in the first phase on September 18th. Congress party late on Monday released a list of 9 candidates for the ensuing Jammu and Kashmir assembly polls. Also, India's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party released a list of 15 candidates on Monday. The list comprises of names of candidates for first phase of polling scheduled to be held on September 18th. Well, elections in the region will be held in 3 phases on 18th of September, 25th of September and 1st of October. Results to be announced on the 4th of October. This is the first time elections will be held in the valley after the revocation of Article 370 in 2019. And now let's give you some weather updates. The Western Indian city of Gujarat continues to witness heavy rain, leaving state authority to shut down all primary schools for Tuesday. The Met Department on Monday predicted that Gujarat would experience heavy to extremely heavy rain over the next 2-3 days. The state has been witnessing heavy rainfall over the past 2 days, leading to parts of Gujarat being inundated and displacing hundreds of residents to safer locations. State's Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel has urged for the safe evacuation of people from low-lying areas and said the first priority should be to prevent the loss of life and livestock. National Disaster Response Force and State Disaster Response Force have been pressed in service for relief and rescue. Meanwhile, the death toll from devastating floods in Bangladesh has risen to 23, with around 1.24 million families stranded across 11 districts. Met Department said flood conditions could persist if the monsoon rains continued, as water levels were receding very slowly. Army, Air Force, Navy and the South Asian countries' border guard assisting in rescue and relief operations. And India has refuted rumours and efforts to create misunderstandings in Bangladesh that flooding was caused by uncontrolled opening of sluice gates of the Farakka barrage. India suggested such efforts must be countered with facts. On Monday, India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said that fake videos, rumours and fear-mongering is being done to create misunderstanding between India and Bangladesh. He said that all data related to the water is shared with the concerned Joint River Commission officials in Bangladesh on a regular and timely basis, and has been done this time as well. He refuted the baseless rumours that gates of Farakka barrage was opened suddenly. He further clarified that Farakka is only a barrage and not a dam. No water can be stored in face of heavy rains in the Indian side. And Dubai's Sri Krishna temple in Doordarshan hosted a vibrant Janmashtami celebration, drawing thousands of devotees to mark Lord Krishna's birth. As the UAE's first temple, it has a deep historical significance for the Indian community. The event featured prayers and offerings at the cherished Murti of child Krishna, reflecting Dubai's commitment to cultural diversity and religious freedom. Well, the 24th International Mother Teresa Award ceremony took place on August 26th at the Millennium Plaza in Dubai, commemorating the 114th birth anniversary of the revered humanitarian. This prestigious event, organized by the All India Minority and Weaker Sections Council, was held outside India for only the second time. The awards, established after Mother Teresa's passing in 1997, recognize exceptional individuals who have made significant contributions in various fields, including education, science, culture, sports and politics in India. This year's ceremony featured a diverse group of awardees from different countries and sectors. The event featured a cake-cutting ceremony to celebrate Mother Teresa's birth anniversary, along with a screening of a documentary about her life. Organizers expressed their joy returning to Dubai for this special occasion. The ceremony also included various cultural segments.
Of profound prayer and deep love for her religious sisters and her students. Mother Teresa's 20 years in the record were filled with profound happening. Mother Teresa of Calcutta was entrusted with the mission of proclaiming God's thirsting love for humanity, especially for the poorest.
And in sports, defending champion Novak Djokovic enjoyed a comfortable win in the first round of the US Open on Monday. Djokovic, looking to become the first player to capture 25 Grand Slam titles, capped the evening session under the lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium with a 6-2, 6-2, 6-4 victory over Moldovan qualifier Radu Albert. The Serbian world number 2 had not competed since winning the Olympic gold medal in Paris and shook off the rust to cruise past Albert in his bid to become the first man to retain the New York title since Roger Federer in 2008. He also set a record for most victories by a male player at the main show court with a 78th win. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.